Hey everyone, and welcome to This Pop Culture Peach. My name is Robin, and I'm your host for the show. Featured this week, we've got stories on all the Kevin Spacey allegations, the best and worst remakes, and a recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta premiere from Sunday night. It was awesome. But before all of that, let's talk some news. So, in a little bit of sad news, Saturday, Jimmy Fallon's mother, Gloria, passed away. So it happened Saturday, November 4th, and he had actually canceled the show on Friday to be at her bedside. And originally it had come out that they canceled the show for a private family matter, and then it, of course, came out that he was by her bedside when she passed away on November 4th. She was 68, and this week all the tapings are canceled for the show. It's super sad. It broke my heart whenever I saw it. I feel so connected to Jimmy. I mean, he comes out every night and gives an awesome show. He makes people laugh. He makes people smile. He brings light into everybody's lives. At least that's how I feel about him. And I feel a true connection to him just because of what he's offered me through his show. So it just breaks my heart that he's going through this. And even though he'll never listen to this show, prayers and thoughts go out to you, Jimmy, and your family. Moving on from that, Selena and The Weeknd broke up, which is insane because last week we talked about them and we talked about how Selena and Justin were hanging out again. I was like, please, dear God, don't let her get back together with him. Like, at least she's still with The Weeknd. Literally right after the show ended, I was on Twitter, obviously, and I saw that they broke up and I was so upset about it. But so you know that she's been hanging out with Justin a lot, Justin Bieber. So Selena Gomez and him have been hanging out. You know, they went to, church together. They've been eating together. She went to this hockey game. And this is what I thought was, extra sparking rumors about them dating again. This was after her and The Weeknd broke up. She was seen leaving his hockey game with him wearing his jersey, which is you don't really wear a jersey of just, a friend. Maybe you do, but not a friend that you've been, on again, off again with for several years. So I think they're probably going to be dating again soon, but I prayed a quick prayer, a Twitter prayer out of the Twitterverse to God that they wouldn't get back together, but it looks like it might be heading that way. The breakup between Selena Gomez and The Weeknd seems amicable. However, they don't seem to be in big fights. It doesn't seem to be tied to Justin. In my personal opinion, I think it was just she went through all that stuff with the kidney transplant, and then she went a long period of time without him being there because The Weeknd was on tour and busy doing stuff, and I think just all of that maybe combined. And of course, there's always much more going on behind the scenes that we don't get to see. So, but I'm glad that it was amicable because I do like her and I do like The Weeknd. I don't like dirty breakups. That's always bad. So, in other news with Selena Gomez, she was honored with Billboard's 2017 Woman of the Year. So, congratulations, Selena. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, they got married in this little intimate wedding in October. People thought they were already together. I mean, they started dating, I think it was back in 2005. They've had 2 kids since then. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Jason Momoa played Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones, and he's also playing Aquaman in the Justice League movies coming up. Really cool dude, but what's very interesting is Lisa Bonet. So Lisa Bonet used to be married to Lenny Kravitz, who, if you don't know who Lenny Kravitz is, then look him up. You probably do. American Woman. He also played, this is not why Lenny Kravitz is Lenny Kravitz. This is just a caveat. He did play Senna in Hunger Games, the designer for Katniss. So if you don't know who Lenny Kravitz is, you probably know that at least. So he's a really cool dude. Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz used to be together, and they had their daughter Zoe Kravitz, who was actually famous. She was in Big Little Lies, and she was also in those other movies that were like Hunger Games, but not Hunger Games. I read the books, can't quite remember what they're called at the time. But she's famous too, so it's cool because it's now Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, and so Jason Momoa is stepdad to Zoe Kravitz, which I just think is such an interesting thing. I just found this out last year that Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet were even together. And how I found it out was insane because I was looking at who he was with because I was wondering, is he married? As all fans do. And I saw this woman, and I was like, wow, she is so beautiful. And I was like, she literally looks like Zoe Kravitz. She looks like a female version of Lenny Kravitz, which is what Zoe Kravitz is to me. And then I looked up and I was like, okay, I'm insane. It is. So that's really exciting. Congratulations to Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. A little article came out talking about an interview that they had with Zayn Malik, and Zayn has his own music out now. He's an artist, but he used to be in One Direction. And this is just like a quick little like loop of information because it kind of like made me sad. But he does not talk to One Direction anymore. None of them. And he had said, like 2 of them have kids now. Because Liam Payne has a kid. I didn't know any of the other ones had a kid. I guess Louis has a kid. But so Zayn doesn't talk to any of them, which I guess isn't really surprising. Because if you watch them from the beginning, Zayn was kind of the one that was just like different from everyone else. He wasn't as like outgoing and loud like all of them. And he seemed to have a different kind of style. So I'm not very surprised. He was also the first one to split. Like, he was the one to split, which a lot of people thought it was going to be Harry Styles. But Zayn split, and then they all, like, had one more album and then broke up. But, yeah, it just kind of made me sad that he does not talk to any of them anymore. So, yeah, in other kind of maybe drama, maybe not drama, Tyrese Gibson, of course, we talked about all the Fast and Furious drama between Tyrese Gibson and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with all the stuff. Just a quick recap on it. Dwayne is in, like, his brother-in-law. They have, like, a production company, and they're creating a spin-off about The Rock's character in the Fast franchise. And when they said, like, the next Fast movie, the Fast and Furious movie, I think it's, like, number 9 in the sequence, it was supposed to be coming out this summer of 2018, or 2019, and then it got pushed to 2020 because of this spin-off. And it infuriated Tyrese Gibson. He went on this huge rant. I talked about it on one of the first episodes, but he just, the reason why I'm bringing it up again is because he just posted on Instagram that he will quit the franchise over all this stuff with Dwayne. He said basically that if The Rock is in the next Fast movie, he's not going to be in it anymore. He said, quote, "I'm sorry to announce that if Dwayne is in Fast 9, there will be no more Roman Pierce," which is the character that Tyrese Gibson plays in the Fast movies. "You mess with family and my daughter's survival, I mess with yours." Of course, there was a lot more going on, a lot of like little nitpicky things that were going on. Apparently Tyrese Gibson is in like a battle with his ex-wife about stuff with his daughter. So there's a lot of like little things, but I thought that was pretty interesting. He's a crucial character in the franchise as well as The Rock, and to see this happening is kind of sad. So just a quick little, I'm just going to give a quick little opinion of Stranger Things. I promise no spoilers. Just wanted to say that I did finish it. I thought it was just as good as the first one. Again, still unpredictable, still loaded with a lot of fun stuff. Those 2 like weird characters, Max and her brother, I don't really understand why they were involved. I like Max, not a fan of her brother. That's something you see from the first episode. Not a spoiler, so don't freak out. But I just kind of thought I didn't get the purpose of them. That was the only thing I didn't really like about it. But again, I thought it was great. Super exciting, had me jaw-dropping, had me super excited and freaked out. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So if you haven't finished it yet, what are you doing with your life? Finish Stranger Things. And then CBS All Access announced that they're talking about a possible Twilight Zone reboot. So I'm all for this. I think it would be amazing. But again, like any kind of reboot or remake, as we'll talk about later, if you're going to do it, you better do it right. You can't halfway do it, because if you do, then everybody's going to be disappointed. This is a franchise that already has so much going on with it. Just like what happens with Star Wars or Indiana Jones, Jurassic World, any of those stuff, Jurassic Park, my bad, with Jurassic World. Any of that stuff, you got to do it right. So I hope that Twilight Zone, they do come back with it, and I hope it's done right. So moving on to our featured stories. Our first featured story is going to be one that's not as, has me as maybe peppy and excited as a lot of the other ones. I wasn't really wanting to talk about this as much just because it is in the media industry, but it's more about the industry than actual pop culture. But now I think that this is one piece of it that should be spoken about. So Kevin Spacey. I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but Kevin Spacey, who of course is in House of Cards, Frank Underwood in House of Cards, he's been in a lot of other stuff too. I mean, Kevin Spacey, I've always loved this guy. So it all started with, of course, all this stuff with Harvey Weinstein and all these other allegations coming out about sexual assault and sexual harassment and even, molestation and rape. All that stuff was coming out. Well, Star Trek actor Anthony Rapp came forward saying that when Kevin Spacey was 26 and when Anthony Rapp was 14, he was at Kevin Spacey's party. And he got tired of dealing with all the adults or whatever, and he just went to go watch TV in one of the back rooms. Well, there was an incident where Kevin Spacey came in and tried to have sex with him, and it was very obviously traumatizing for this 14-year-old boy. So that was an issue. And then right after that allegation came out, Kevin Spacey issued an apology. And this all started like blowing up last Monday, but I didn't want to talk about it yet on the show until there was more information. And until I saw how all of it was going to turn out, because I wanted to give a full like report on it rather than just pieces. So he issued an apology, and I read it, and it sounded great. It was like 2 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I was like, wow, like this is good. He basically just said, I don't remember it. I was drunk. This was so long ago. However, if I did do the things you're saying that I'm doing, that I did, like, I'm so sorry, all this stuff. Very genuine. But then his second paragraph, he didn't stop there. In his second paragraph, he used this as a way to finally come out as being gay. Now, I think that was something that most people just kind of knew. But he came out and said, you know, I've had relations with both men and women, but I am a man that prefers to just have relationships. Basically came out. And people were super mad about this. I mean, I even thought it was kind of weird when I read it, because I was like, I mean, awesome and kudos to you for coming out, but why would you use it in this situation? The platform he chose to tell it on was awful. He was issuing an apology for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy when he was almost twice his age, and then decided to derail that. And a lot of people called it manipulative, calculated. They called it a lot of bad things, because it was almost like taking the spotlight on him that he made a mistake and apologizing and switching it to being like, oh, but I'm gay, and taking it away from all that. And so people were really mad about it. And then a stream of other allegations started flowing about him assaulting other people, including 8 from the set of House of Cards, from like crew members. And they had all these allegations have been almost daily now from different people saying, oh yeah, he did this, like just all these different, I'm not going to list all the things he did, but you can look them up. But just a lot of different sexual assaults and making the workplace uncomfortable and toxic. And then it came out that they decided House of Cards decided to suspend production while they were investigating. And then this was the big bomb. Netflix actually issued a statement earlier this week saying that they will have no ties to the House of Cards franchise if it has Kevin Spacey involved. So now they've got to figure out what to do. Are they going to continue House of Cards? If they do, they got to get rid of Kevin Spacey. How are they going to do that? You know, you can't phase him out like a lot of shows do, where it's like you see this, you know, eventual death or moving away or something, because you've heard in the press how they're not going to be involved anymore for a number of reasons. But now we know they don't want anything to do with it. So it's not like, oh, you get one episode to phase him out. No, like, it's done. Netflix is done with Kevin Spacey, which I think is awesome on their part. I mean, they're taking a stand, even though this is one of their most amazing franchises. I mean, I love House of Cards, and they're saying, no, we're not going to have anything to do with it. And he made that show. Him and Robin Wright together made that show. I still think the show can stand with the characters they do have, and maybe including other ones, because Robin Wright, like I said, is amazing. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do, if they do anything. That's what's going on with that. If you want to get more details into what's going on, you can, of course, look it up. I liked a lot of stuff on my Twitter. I retweeted stuff, so if you want to go look at that, you can do that. Moving on from that story, we're going to get to the best and worst remakes, in my opinion, kind of the ones you probably don't think about. This all came about because I saw that Hocus Pocus is apparently going to make a remake. And they questioned Bette Midler about it because, of course, she played one of the Sanderson sisters, Winifred, the main, like, curly-haired one. And she was like, nope, there's no price you can pay me. I will not be doing it. It's going to be cheap. It's going to be so cheap. That's what she was saying. And the other Sanderson sisters, including Sarah Jessica Parker, were against it too. And all of them are just saying, no, 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 which I thought was weird. Like, I get people are kind of weary about remakes because, you know, they can almost like dampen a franchise. Like, how awesome it is if you have these remakes. Then it's like it takes away the glory of just having that one. So I get it a little bit, but I thought it was kind of weird how much against they were. But, you know, I mean, you know what happens most times to remakes. They can be bad, but sometimes they can be awesome as well. And I've comprised a short list, in my opinion, of the worst and the best remakes. So the worst, one of them I included, was Footloose. And my main reason for doing this is because there's no Kevin Bacon. Like, that's why I love Footloose. I mean, Obviously, I love the music too, but Kevin Spacey is what makes it awesome. And it stinks because Juliana Hough is in the new one, and I do like it, but if I'm gonna pick between which one to watch, I'm gonna always choose, hands down, the older one. And that's what makes it the worst. It's also, I think the movie as a whole, Footloose, is kind of cheesy, which is fine, but I felt like the newer one was like extra cheesy, which is maybe because there was no Kevin Bacon. I don't know. And then my other worst remake was Cinderella, this new live action one they came out with. There's so many Cinderellas. Like, why? It just seems so unnecessary. We got the Hilary Duff one, which is like great Cinderella story, which I understand is a different kind of remake. Then we have Selena Gomez, which was like that kind of weird Cinderella story. Like, I think it was called like Another Cinderella Story. But then we have like, I think one or two other like live action Cinderella movies that were great. The one with Whoopi Goldberg, like, hello, those were fantastic. I did not see a point in another one. But I also understand that they are wanting to make all these, live action versions of Disney movies. I mean, I'm going to talk about two of them already in this show I'm about to talk about. So I get it, but again, just kind of unnecessary. And I didn't think there was anything great about it. It was just kind of like, eh. But in my opinion, the best remakes are, here we go, Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was great. Emma Watson played it awesome. It was so good. It was so lively and colorful, funny, and cute. Everything about it, I thought it was so good. And then one of my last ones, Dark Knight. I loved the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, I loved that. The first one was kind of, but the villains, I mean, that's what makes it so good. I mean, Christian Bale is good, but he's like Christian Bale at the same time. What are you going to do about it? But the villains, I mean, Heath Ledger is the Joker, and no one can top it. I mean, as much as Jared Leto wishes he could be the best at everything, which he can't be because he's just not, like, he's not. Heath Ledger just is hands down the best Joker, did amazing. And then Tom Hardy playing Bane. I mean, I loved that character. I mean, I hate him, but I love him. And anybody who can make me hate but love that villain is awesome in my book. So I think that's Dark Knight, the best remakes. And I consider those remakes, of course, because we have a million Batman movies. And then my last best remake, which if anybody argues me on this, like, who are you? I don't understand, is The Office. We all know The Office, the American version, is a remake of like one season. I think it was like 8 episodes of the British Office. And I was not about it with Ricky Gervais as Michael Scott, which I love Ricky Gervais, and he was part of the creation of the American one, but it's just, I mean, I don't have to sit here and give you reasons why. You all know. And if you haven't seen the British version, you can watch it and you'll see. I don't think I've ever even made it through the first episode. And this is going to sound weird, but like, their accents are so heavy, I can't even really understand what they're saying. Maybe that says more about something about me than the show. I don't know. But yeah, so those are my best and worst remakes. And then my last featured story of the night is just a quick little Real Housewives of Atlanta recap, letting you know where all the ladies are, what's going on, and of course, my opinion on each person. So, first person we're going to talk about is Kenya Moore. So Kenya Moore has got married, which is cool because she's the one who's like never been married on the show, and she's always talking about it. She's been all about marriage. All the guys she's been with have not been, except for the last one that he was like had issues. But she got married and literally didn't tell anyone, not even her dad. In the show, like, the episode shows him calling her and talking to her about it. And I'm like, why would she not even tell him? And all of her friends were mad and was like, there was like 4 people at the ceremony and you didn't invite any of us and all this stuff. But the weirdest thing about it, she's making everyone call him baby, even though she posted his name on Instagram. Like, we all know who he is, but they won't say the name on air, which is so weird to me. So they all have to call him baby. I would be like, no, I'm calling him his name. That's stupid. Or I just wouldn't talk about him. So it's kind of annoying, but like always. And the most frustrating thing about Kenya, like, you would think one of those was the most frustrating. Oh no. She's moving. Like, literally all of last season and like half the season before that, I think, was all about her renovating this huge home and all this stuff between her and Sheree about whose house was better, all this stuff. And she's moving. Because she said of all, like, the bad juju from her ex-boyfriend, which I do, like, get, because he helped build it and he was there a lot. Like, I get that to a certain extent. It just blows my mind that we went through all of that with this new, like, house, and now she's trying to find a new house. Because that's what she said, is that, like, he'll move in with her whenever they find a new house. And Nene was like, you just built one! And I was like, yeah, it's exactly how all of us build, Nene. Thank you. Which is another reason why I'm so happy she's back on the show, because, hello, like, So basically what was going on with Nene is she was kind of like going around and talking to everybody, and her and Portia are kind of in a fight right now, and I'll talk about that in a second. But basically her with everybody else was just like giving her opinion a little bit on what happened last season, of course, with Phaedra and Portia and Candy. And if you don't know about all that, you've got to watch the season. I'm not going to get into it. We just don't have time, and it's a lot. So Portia and Nene are mad at each other. Portia's mad at Nene because she made comments on Watch My Friends Live about who she thinks they should let go off the show. And she said frickin' fraud. And of course that was relating to frickin' frat, which are the nicknames that Portia and Phaedra had for each other. And so she was basically saying, like, you should get rid of Portia. And that was her opinion. And then Portia, basically, Nene's denying everything Portia's saying based off of diction. Because Portia's saying, you told them to fire me. And she's like, I didn't say fire. That's not the word that I used. But, like, that's what she said. So it's kind of frustrating. Candy is being awesome, like always. She's fed up with being fake with Portia. She was just like, I'm not going to sit here and be fake with her, again, because of everything that happened. And then Cynthia had her little narcissistic party, 50 Shades of Cynthia, where everybody came to her 50th birthday dressed as versions of her, even though it's like a month after her actual 50th birthday. I thought this was kind of weird. It's all about me this season. That's like literally typical classic Cynthia, where she's like, I've been dealing with this, and now it's all about me. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And then Sheree's, of course, collecting those bones early on. She's been called the bone collector before, and she's continuing it this season, even in the first episode. But looking forward, we have the Lion King cast was finally announced. So it premieres the summer of 2019, and the cast is awesome, which I already did know who was playing Simba, and who was playing Mufasa, and I kind of knew who was playing Nala. But, so, Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, a.k.a., is playing Simba. Beyonce is playing Nala. James Earl Jones is playing Mufasa, who, of course, is who played Mufasa in the original. I can't pronounce his name, and I apologize. You gotta look up, everybody for all the characters. My favorites that I'm most excited about, though, is John Oliver's playing Zazu, which will be so fun. Like, that's perfect, honestly. Like, was he the original Zazu? Because it kind of sounded like it. Seth Rogen is playing Pumbaa. Billy Eichner is playing Timon. Eric Andre is playing Azizi. Florence Konsamba is playing Shinzi. Keegan-Michael Key is playing Kamari. So those are the three hyenas, which is going to be great. They're funny people. I love them. So I'm super pumped about it. You can look that up online. Literally quick Google search. You'll find it. Again, it's coming out summer of 2019. And then the next thing that we have to look forward to is this program that's about to premiere in the end of November, so soon, on MTV called Floribama Shore. So it's like Jersey Shore, but the Florida-Alabama Shore. So, like, I didn't think it could get more ratchet, but I feel like this is even more ratchet than Jersey Shore, simply because I know these people, like, I relate to that, like, group. Well, I don't relate to them, like, I'm not like them, but, like, I know those people. So MTV explained the show by saying that, quote, set in the Florida Panhandle along the beach that stretches all the way to Alabama. MTV Floribama Shore is the story of 8 young adults who come to spend the summer in the hottest beach town on the Gulf Coast, Panama City Beach, to party it up and put the real world on hold for just a little bit longer. But each is armed with incredible life experiences and standing at a crossroads, whether it's ending a relationship, tasting independence for the first time, or trying to escape the past. This coming-of-age story captures the very real thrill and angst of being young and trying to figure out the future with a group of people you'll come to call family. So it's PCB, which is so funny because it's a running joke in my relationship where anytime something crazy happens or people are talking about getting crazy or talking about, you know, people that we knew that we went to high school with, we'll always go PCB and, like, joke around with it. And, like, now there's going to be a show. Me personally, I've never been to Panama City. I've heard there are good areas, but I don't think this is going to be taking place in one of those good areas. So I'll definitely be watching this show, and I will let you guys know. I feel like this is going to be my next obsession. I'm super excited about it, so you guys have got to watch it. MTV near the end of November. I'll keep you guys updated. But we all have our salty moments. I think you guys have heard plenty of mine already in this episode, but just one more that I want to add on. P. Diddy changes his name again. So it was Diddy, and it was Puff Daddy, and then it was Puffy, gross, and then it was P. Diddy. and his 48th birthday just happened, and his birthday present to himself was changing it to Love, aka Brother Love. Don't know how long this is going to last, but he thinks that this name tells who he is more than P. Diddy. Wasn't really sure what P. Diddy was telling us about him before, or Diddy, or Puff Daddy, or Puffy, but any of that, I don't know what it was telling us about him before, but I guess now he wants to be known by Brother Love. So, happy birthday, Brother Love. I can't say it. But because I'm never going to end a show on a negative note, my peachy moment from this past week was watching 2 Chainz on Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show. So during the interview, which was awesome because their interaction with one another is just great to me. But he had shared that 2 Chainz, that he shared that he broke his leg, and instead of canceling his tour or like canceling some shows, he just bought a pink wheelchair, of course, to go with his album. So his album's like pink and it's like Pretty Girls Like Trap Music is what it's called. And so we got a pink wheelchair, and it was so funny because he performs at the end of the show, and one of his backup dancers literally, her job is to like lock the wheels so she can dance and he can like move around and hop around in his chair and not like roll away. And then she'll like unhook it and like move him around and stuff. It's hilarious. But he also has a new show on Viceland called Most Expensivest, where he basically just goes around and like tests out the most expensive products, like $1,000 donut, $30,000 headphones, like really expensive Beverly Hills wine, all this stuff. The show premieres on November 15th. I'm thinking about recording it and seeing it because I think 2 Chainz is a hilarious dude, and it seems like an interesting concept for a show, and I'll let you guys know about that. But that was my peachy moment because I just think that was hilarious, and he's great, and the fact that he did that is just really cool for his fans. But thank you everyone for listening. I know this show ran a little bit longer than normal, so thank you if you continue listening. Follow me on Twitter and send me any suggestions that you have. Again, you can follow me at Robin_McIntyre. All of these stories and so much more I put on my Twitter. I like them, I retweet them, I talk about them. Yeah, and if you're not listening live, so the people that aren't listening right now, but if you're listening later from a link that I give, that I upload on, you really should download the Unmute app. It's free. You can listen to me live, and what's awesome about it is you can send me in messages while I'm talking. If I said something wrong and you want to correct me, if I said something opinion-wise that you think is wrong and you want to tell me your opinion, share it. That's why the app is called Unmute, so that I can unmute you and you can have your voice heard. So listen live. I'll see you guys next week on Monday again. Have a great week.